Let's throw our hands in the air as we soar through the sky.
Yatta!
We'll catch the sun with your hand in mine, and if we work as a team, everything will be fine.
Yeah!
Oh, it's Cure of the What Now?
Let's henshin and start the show.
Hello, fellow members of the Tropical Club, and welcome to Cure of the What Now, the show where we do what is most important in this moment. I'm your host, Kat, and I am very good at making charts. Like, I've got charts for charts for charts. You want to plan something for February 19th of 2020X? I got you. I have plans all the way out to that date.
Very exciting. Now, how is your map reading skills?
Excellent.
Also top tier?
Yes, and you're not going to contradict me on that, because this is Cure of the What Now, where I can be anything I want, and my real-life map reading skills don't have to come into it.
All right, someone just outed themselves on mic, and that was not my intention. I'm co-host of the show, Joel, relative newbie to PreCure and Shoujo, and also I like playing an adorable video game where you get carrots from a rabbit as your friendship increases, as the intimacy level increases, which I thought was an interesting way of translating that.
You have intimate friendships. Intimacy isn't always sexual.
I guess that's true. I always associate it with romantic relationships, so I'm just wondering, can you kiss the bunny? And it's not a bunny like an anthropological anthro. That's the word. It's not an anthro bunny, but I seriously think that I have like a very mild case of dyslexia or something related, where I get words in my head mixed up sometimes, and I have a hard time with sayings. Like, I'll try to say like, don't put all of your eggs in a basket on the mic, but I'll say like, don't put all of your eggs in the stove, and I'll be like, that's not the phrase, and I know it's wrong, but I don't know how it's wrong.
You know what's great though?
What's that?
CL from Cure PreCure a la mode actually also has that problem, so you're just a bonus cure.
I'm a bonus cure, and was she a unicorn themed? Was that her thing? Okay,
Pegasus.
Pegasus. I guess I'll accept. I just made a horse noise. I didn't even do that on purpose. Wow, we have a lot of energy today.
Yes. First, quick announcement. Our Heart Catch episode is now available as our quarterly free bonus episode. So if you like what we have to say about Tropical Rouge and you want us to talk, or you want to hear us talk for a long, long time about Heart Catch and what makes Heart Catch so great, you can check that out. Joel, do you have any other announcements?
Not particularly. I will be linking that episode in the description, and if I recall correctly, we also released part 8 of the Kira Star Twinkle Hugto episode for free as well, so it's not uploaded to YouTube right now at time of recording, but I will try to get that up by the time this goes up, and then I will link it too. It is the very end of a very long episode that we didn't want to just put on the public feed because we put a lot of work into it and we wanted that to be for
special.
Our patrons. But that part covers the movie that is a crossover between all three with special guest Trey from the Full Spectrum podcast.
Absolutely. And just like every episode, we give thanks and praise to Viva Spark Tropical Rouge PreCure. I would like to give thanks and praise to my husband for all his hard work. He's been working really hard nonstop at getting all of these episodes uploaded to YouTube, all because someone on Reddit was like, get on YouTube, you effers. And so thank you, Reddit. Thank you, husband. We appreciate you.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that it Tropica shines, and it'd be weird if people jumped on YouTube and they wanted to listen to our other podcast, which is not on YouTube, and they're like, how come they're covering episode 406 of One Piece? What happened to the first 405 episodes? We have those, they're just not available, and so we're going to get them uploaded, put them in little playlists, and I've got a couple of plans for bonus content that is not strictly podcast related, and some bonus content that is podcast related, but not really anything significant, but it'll be a fun little soundbite that people can listen to.
Excellent. I loved this episode.
Are we going to have our discussion question today?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Look, the Witch of Delay took some of her motivation energy and caused us to put off doing the discussion question. So, if anything, it's her fault.
Yes, absolutely. I forgot that we do announcements before lead-in discussion, so
Yes.
I didn't get too overly excited.
Yeah, you gave thanks and praise for the opening, Viva Spark.
It is
Tropical
right
Rouge.
to give thanks and praise.
It always is.
Now, Joel, it's your turn to come up with the discussion question. What do you got for me?
Yes. So, day of recording is Easter Sunday. It takes a little bit of time to edit and upload to YouTube or whatever. But in the spirit of Easter, what activities or aspects of the holiday do you think appeals to each of our 5 main cures?
Oh, that's a great discussion.
Or not cures, the 5 main characters, Laura counts.
That's a great discussion question. I think Manatsu really loves, Easter egg hunts.
Yeah, of course she does,
That seems like something she'd be all over. Sango would enjoy making cute sweets to share with her friends.
Oh my gosh, yes. I think Minori might also be pretty excited to hide the eggs, maybe. Maybe she finds, the optimal way, and maybe she finds, an extra hard location to find, and she puts, a gold egg there that has, a super special prize.
Oh, that's great. She's the organizer for this Easter egg hunt.
No. Sorry, go ahead.
I was also going to say Minori could be the person who's really interested in the lore around Easter.
Oh,
and she talks about,
okay.
The development over history of why this was a holiday.
Before they start the Easter egg hunt, she gives a short synopsis that's short by her definition, maybe a little bit too long for the other characters, just a tiny bit about the history and the importance of the holiday. I was also thinking, this is something that my family did 2 years in a row, and apparently it took a lot of effort, but Minori is the type of overachiever who would do it. She could also set up, there would be eggs hidden around for all the children to find, and Manatsu would be allowed to participate in that stuff. But she would also do a specialized individual scavenger hunt for each girl. So the clues would be related to their interests and hobbies, and it would lead to, again, a special big basket of presents that has, the makeup that Sango has been eyeing for the last couple of weeks, or some sporting equipment that Manatsu has been asking for, and that sort of thing.
That's cute. I love that.
Does Asuka strike you as the one who would be in charge of the food, she'd prepare the dinner, or...
So Asuka's kind of a big sister type, right? And her thing is that if somebody nearby needs help, she helps them. So I could see her helping little kids to find eggs because they're crying because they haven't been able to find any.
Sure.
And so she gives them a hand.
Okay. Does Laura dress up as a bunny girl and demand all the attention? She dresses up as the mascot and is yes, bow to me, the Easter Bunny!
Yeah. Yeah, she do, though. So here's a thought that I had when we were discussing what the discussion question could be for this Easter episode. The Easter Bunny is absolutely a PreCure fairy, right?
Yes.
If PreCure were an American show, they absolutely would have an Easter special where the special Easter Bunny fairy came down and needed their help.
I've seen multiple episodes where they talk about Santa either being an alien or a magical person, I definitely think that, because I don't think Easter's a really big thing in Japan, so I could see an Americanized version having that. If you did the Easter Bunny as a fairy, would you do a season where you had a bunch of different holidays as fairies? Would you do the single episode spin-off like you were saying? Or would it be one entire season that was themed around Easter somehow?
I kind of like the idea of people having spirit eggs, and I know that's very Madoka, but it's also very heart catch PreCure, right? And so when a person discovers what it is they truly want to be, their spirit egg hatches. And the PreCure for that season, their job could be to
help guide
nurture
people.
The spirit eggs of the
Would
people
you say
around
that
them.
once someone discovers what's inside their egg, a mark might appear somewhere, perhaps on their flank? Their thigh of some sort that would relate to what their special talent is?
Oh, I see. You're doing a My Little Pony thing.
Hey, I like My Little Pony.
Is Spike the Dragon the PreCure fairy for the main six? Annoying,
Yep.
small, assists the main character.
Is the liaison of communication between them and the queen, who does nothing to solve any of the problems that happen throughout the season. So, yeah, absolutely. I think in this episode, we have definitively concluded that My Little Pony is a PreCure show.
Or at the very least, a magical girl show. Absolutely.
Didn't we have a joke about how Equestria Girls was something else, like it was secretly shonen the whole time?
No, our joke was that Equestria Girl... Maybe it was that it was secretly shonen the whole time. I don't remember.
My apologies if you can hear a cat in the background. That's just our big dumb cat. I don't mean to be prejudiced against cats, but she is incredibly stupid.
You want to know something funny?
What's that?
That's not the fat one. That's Mia.
Is it?
Yeah.
Why?
Because she wants in here.
Aw, poor kitty. Anyways, if you can hear a cat, I apologize. We usually try to edit around ums and pauses and stuff like that, but sometimes the cats just meow in the middle of a sentence and we can't really do anything about it.
It's really rough for them that they can't participate in the podcast as much as they want to, because, Rocket has big opinions.
We have 4 cats and a single dog, so Jack is obviously Laura, and then the 4 cats could map onto Asuka, Minori, Songo, and Manatsu.
So would Nemi be Minori?
Yes.
I think Mia would have to be Asuka.
Okay, yeah, and then Sinatra would be Songo by process of elimination.
Kind of quiet, pretty cute, chill, and then
Okay.
Rocket is Manatsu, big chaos energy.
Yeah. I know it's kind of cheesy to put out the reminder to follow us on Twitter, but if you want cat pictures, that's probably the best way to get access to the cats.
The other day I posted like a 20-tweet thread just about a single one of my cats, and each tweet had 4 pictures, so yeah, come follow me
quality
for
cat content.
pictures.
They are beautiful for children. But this is not a pet discussion podcast.
This is not. This is a Tropical Rouge podcast. Do you feel as though we have adequately answered your discussion question for today?
Yes, I think so. I know I keep promising things that I want to try and draw, and I haven't been drawing a lot lately, but I'm going to try to get off my butt, and after I record this episode, see if I have time. Maybe I will try to draw one of the 5 characters with the bunny ears and a basket. That'd be pretty cute.
I mean, Laura.
Yeah? I don't know, Asuka's still one of my favorite characters, and I could see her putting on the ears. She wouldn't necessarily be happy about it, but A, she's secretly into cute things, which we'll discuss in a second, and B, she's the older sister who wants everyone to have a good time, so she would definitely be that kind of like an MC or something.
Yeah, okay, I feel that.
So would you like a succinct summary of this episode?
Please give me a succinct summary. I'm so ready.
So now that we have the 4 PreCures all assembled, they're part of a team, they're going to form that club that Manatsu's been talking about. They submit a couple of different options to the student council president, and each of them get rejected for various reasons. Books are too boring, it turns out. We want to try a bunch of different things is too vague. Trying to say we will organize each week, we'll do a different thing. That's not okay. They want them to focus on a single thing. They can't wear makeup at school. Asuka likes playing a video game that's really cute, but that's not a club activity.
No video games at school.
No video games at school. And so they're unsure what to do. They find some older women, young women who are looking for the raccoon. No, it's not a raccoon statue. The penguin statue that we saw last episode when they were cleaning the shed. And apparently they left like a time capsule inside of this penguin. So Manatsu runs off to go find the thing. All 8 of these girls kind of form like units, and they organize and they try to find the penguin. It gets possessed by the Yarane Dodd negative energy or whatever they're called. And they save the day, and Manatsu realizes that what the club should be is a club that does what's important right now at the moment. And you'd think that that's kind of a vague answer, but
Manatsu says no.
Manatsu gives such an impassioned, spirited defense of why it's important to do what's important right now, and also these 4 older girls who were helped by Manatsu's kindness, they also say, please reconsider. And so now we have the Tropical Club, and they're going to focus on doing what's most important right in the moment. And that has been your succinct summary.
That was a great succinct summary. One thing I will add is the villains weren't a part of the Yarane Da attack, Dr. Numeri left like a purple blob in the basket of this penguin, and that apparently can just turn into a Yarne Da by itself. And there's a moment at the end of the fight where Laura goes, nothing for me to do, because it didn't collect any motivation power.
Yeah, so she didn't get to press the button on the PreCure pot or whatever it's called. I know it's called something, mermaid pot, that's it. But yeah, it's interesting. Well, and they did actually kind of foreshadow that a little bit. Last episode, you saw Dr. Numeri juggling two of them in her hand. I didn't see her drop it, but okay, that's interesting. Cool.
Yeah, maybe we'll get a thing where, like, they plant one on one side of town and then they attack another side of town. It's like, where are you going to save, PreCure? And Manatsu's like, I'm going to save what's most important right now.
I don't think that the generals are generally, that smart. Like, every season, I always wonder, why don't the generals all attack at once? And Healing Good had a single episode where they tried that. And then they abandoned it despite it being the closest they ever came to victory.
To be fair, they really didn't like each other in that season.
That's true.
These villains seem to get along. There was a scene of Dr. Numeri and Changi-Rei sitting at a table together, and the butler comes in and is like, why aren't you guys collecting motivation power? And they're like, we don't want to. And he says, only the Witch of Delays can delay.
Also, we get introduced to a new character who didn't really get a lot of play, but we got a name for her, so that's awesome.
Her name is Elde, and she is a little tiny shrimp maid. And Dr. Numeri really likes her. She's like, you're so cute, come sit on my lap.
Yeah, so she does seem to be a kid, and she mentioned something about, like, oh, that's too complicated for me, I'm a kid, or something, I can't remember, or like, adults have it tough. But she's sitting on Dr. Numeri's lap, she seems to get along with the other characters pretty well. But, she's in the opening, and it's very clear that she is one of the generals, so I'm thinking next episode will be her time to show up, and maybe we'll learn a little bit about what makes her different from Changi-Rei and Dr. Numeri.
Absolutely. Sorry, I was just updating the scratch pad. Joel, what was your favorite moment from this episode?
I really enjoyed them trying to figure out what they wanted their club to be. And I know that's the whole episode, but there's one specific part where Manatsu has everyone write down what their idea of a Tropica Shine would be. And it's an anonymous survey. But there's an ongoing joke that what was the point in even having these be anonymous? Because the first one they draw is, I like reading. And everyone's like, that's Minori, isn't it? Minori's like, there's no point in having it be anonymous. And there's one that's like, I want to be queen. Or like,
lessons to become queen.
They're all like, that's Laura. Which is really funny because then the last one that they draw, which already you should know who it is because, duh, there's only 4 entries. But they draw it and it goes, I want to befriend, and I don't remember what the name of the character was, but I want to befriend a character in this video game. And everyone's like, oh my god, that must be Asuka by process of elimination.
They all like turn and stare at her, and she's like, there was no point to having it be anonymous.
So we get a little moment with Asuka where, yeah, I mean, we already got the hint that she doesn't really like believe in friendship because she had some pseudo-traumatic past, but it's interesting because she really is a little bit of a tsundere. She kind of, like, doesn't want people to know that she's into cute things, and when she's playing this, like, Animal Crossing-esque, Stardew Valley-esque game, they're like, wow, you do like these cute things, and she's embarrassed by it, and that's adorable. I really like that she has, like, this side that she's kind of, like, hesitant to show to people, but of course Manatsu and Sango and all of them are, like, immediately in love with her. She's awesome.
Absolutely. My favorite shenanigans when they were still trying to decide what the club would be for is when they did Laura's lessons on how to become queen. And there were a couple of moments that were great. At one point, Laura just falls asleep. And they thought she was practicing, but then they look at her and she's actually asleep. But Asuka sees Laura giving these, like, lessons to the 3 younger girls, and Asuka goes, this is not being queen. This is being Laura.
Yes. Well, what I find is really interesting is we don't know much about the Witch of Delays other than she apparently wants to rule the world, and she also is a procrastinator, and she wants other people to do things for her. Laura wants to become queen, and in, children's fairy tales, the queen is, fair and noble and regal, but the way Laura acts, she's a little princess. We've commented on that. We have our own special section of the episode where we talk about it. And so her lessons on how to become queen is just how to have people waiting on her. And there's gonna be a moment of reckoning where they kind of have to have Laura shape up and start acting a little bit more adultish.
You know who Laura needs?
What's that?
Laura needs Miss Shamour to give her princess lessons.
When I saw the thing that said, I want lessons to become queen, I literally was like, are they going to run into Miss Shamour? Is that going to happen? And
I miss Miss Shamour.
She was so good. Yes.
That moment when she interrupted a fight so she could help Locke fix his makeup because it's important to look and feel your best.
Absolutely.
Sorry, this is not a Princess PreCure podcast, but Princess PreCure was so good.
Yes.
Another quote I really liked was Manatsu decides that Asuka has to be the club president because she's the senpai, she's the oldest. And Asuka's like, no, I don't want to be president. What are you talking about? And Laura goes, I can be president.
Yeah, if you're not going to do it, I'll do it.
And Asuka says, I'll do it. I can't let a mermaid become president. Which, like, isolated, that's such a good line. I can't let a mermaid become president.
Well, and it goes back to you talking about Asuka and Laura having this kind of dynamic relationship. I like relationships where the characters kind of immediately get along, but it's hard to do a 50-episode anime that's just about these girls just kind of always being the same. You need, like, a little bit of change, a little bit of friction. And so having Asuka and Laura kind of still sort of butting heads or still not quite agreeing is wonderful character development. And I hope that they continue to tease and rib each other.
Yeah, it's a good dynamic. A lot of these shows fall into the trap of we're all best friends immediately and we all get along for no reason. And I like that their relationship is going to take time to develop. And I'm looking forward to the inevitable scene where Laura does something selfless and Asuka's like, you did it.
All right, yeah, you get the official Asuka seal of approval.
Absolutely.
Joel, and the seal of approval in the show would be an actual seal. Arf, arf.
Arf, arf, indeed. Joel, I just want to congratulate you on having called what their club was going to be for. Because you were like, they could do like a community service club. And yeah, it seems like that's what they're going to do. Which is also cool because I think that Manatsu's will to do what's most important and having that turn into like, I have to help these people even though I have this own thing that I need to do. Yeah. I think she's going to inspire other people to not be selfish.
I love the idea of the PreCure not just necessarily showing up, destroying the bad guy and leaving, but actually leaving the campsite cleaner than they found it, kind of. Like they inspire other people to, do their best or whatever, right? The theme changes from season to season, and this one it's like doing your best. But I love that. I love them being kind of this mentor figure. And it also ties into the fact that the bad guys affect that part of themselves. And so it's almost like the PreCure training them to not fall into darkness a second time. And like, that's really cool. That's truly how you defeat malevolent forces from hell or wherever the monsters are coming from, is you just demon-proof the village or whatever.
Absolutely. I do wonder if Manatsu is going to end up encouraging the villains in some way. Like Chongire is a chef and he makes really interesting food. He made noodles that wouldn't go soggy no matter how long you delayed eating them. That's really impressive. So maybe she'll inspire him like, don't hold back on your dreams. If cooking is your passion, cook with all you have.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe they'll stop being evil.
I wonder how that would come up in battle is the only thing. Like, I wonder if maybe they'll invade the Witch of Delay's castle and they'll be running around and Manatsu will be like, hey, I smell something delicious over there, kind of like Luffy or many characters from different anime. And she'll like go over and it's just Chongire just like humming to himself and like chopping up some carrots. And just like, wow, that's amazing.
Oh man, Chongire, do a hibachi for me.
Yes. See, when you were saying she would encourage Chongire to do his best, I for a moment forgot that the mermaid island exists, or the mermaid nation, whatever it's called, kingdom. And so I was imagining this crab monster going into Azora City and just being like, I would like to be a chef. And everyone's like, monster! And I was like, how do you get past the discrimination? But now he'll just cook food for the mermaid queen.
Bold of you to assume that people could hold themselves back from chanting upon seeing him, crab with abs, crab with abs. Because that's all I can do anytime he's on screen. Were you about to say absolutely?
Oh my god. Yes, you got me. I do want to say, actually really quick, before I go into the last quote that we have written down, we have, on King of the What Now, we discussed an episode of One Piece in which there's a bad guy who is dressed like a crab. And our rule at King of the What Now is dress like a crab, get called a crab. But some soundbite that still exists on a file, and I don't remember where it came from, but it was me talking about impressive crab abs and crab pecs and doing crab sit-ups. So it's almost like we prophesized this moment when Changirei would appear before us. He is the chosen one to unite the bridge between Tropical Rouge PreCure and One Piece.
Manatsu and Luffy would get along so well.
They would get along terrifically.
What would Manatsu's pirate crew be called? Would they be the Tropical Pirates?
Yeah, of course they'd be the Tropical or the Rainbow Pirates, I think are the two best ones.
Excellent. Do you know, we talked about My Little Pony briefly at the beginning of this episode.
Yeah.
I was trying to explain to a family friend what PreCure was, and I showed them a picture of the Tropical Rouge main cast, and they looked at it, and they went, that's like My Little Pony on acid. Which is such a bizarre take to have.
Interesting. Yeah, it's so interesting to interact with people who don't watch anime and just like show them anime and they're just like, whoa, that's weird. If they think that Tropical Rouge PreCure is on acid, they should check out, say like Danganronpa, or Elfen Lied, or Gurren Lagann. Gurren Lagann isn't like, it doesn't have body horror as far as I know, but it does get a little weird with like the robots and stuff. So like, if you think that PreCure and One Piece is pretty weird in some ways, but like, if you're sitting there thinking to yourselves, man, what Japan creates in their anime division is strange, look at this show of cute girls in cute dresses. That's weird, buddy. You do not know what weird is. I once watched a show where a wrestler who had a butt for a face was defeated by being spanked by a man who was a deer.
Mr. Cheeks! Oh, and he was French. He was a French butt.
Yes. Okay, but I just wanted to kind of go on that rant because it, like I said, it is interesting, right? If you try to tell someone who's not into comics about like, okay, so this is the main character's best friend, but from an alternate reality, we're the best friend, and they'd just be like, what is this? And so that's the same way with anime. Like to some people, PreCure is bizarre and out there. And it's like, no.
Well, and it's weird too, because like we talked about earlier in this episode, My Little Pony is a magical girl show, basically. And it has a lot in common, and it's got the bright colors and everything. But the part that made it weird for me was it's My Little Pony on acid. Like, is it just because the colors are even brighter? Because they look more excited? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So... anyway, sorry to go off on a tangent, but I had to share that because I know my fellow PreCure fans will also be like,
right. So I did write down one other quote related to Manatsu getting the Tropical Club confirmed, created, officially sanctioned. She wanted to explain what Tropica Shine was, basically, to this president lady. I need to look up if she has a name. I'm going to do that right now. But she explained it as... a feeling that gushes out from your heart and dazzles like the sun in summer. That's why the club is named the Tropical Club. And I just really like that quote. I think that's a good summation of like what this series is all about. And I think I'm going to like put it up on the wall or something so we can kind of come back to that idea when they inevitably have the teamwork episode where they get their new finisher, when they have the episode where they get the mid-season upgrades, when they get to the season where they get the secret mid-season cure if there is one, and when they get to the episode where they inevitably doubt their own abilities and almost lose to the bad guys. I think that this is the thesis statement that this entire season is built on.
Absolutely. I will say Manatsu seems like a character where all of her feelings gush out and of her heart and dazzle like the sun in summer. Like, I'm not sure she feels lukewarm about anything. Manatsu, how do you think about spiders? I have no opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have any crack theories for the next episode? Or legit theories, but crack theories are pretty
Hold
funny.
on one really quick second. I also want to shout out the fact that when they all tried reading as an activity, because Minori had suggested it, Manatsu could not stay awake. So we joke about Manatsu not having any brain cells, and obviously she's not dumb, but, she's a little meathead kind of in how she interacts, and I immediately assumed that was how she was going to act. And the episode almost got me. It tricked me, because when they were at the library, Sango had like a single book, Asuka had a single book, Laura had a single book, and Manatsu runs over and she's checking out like 50 books because she doesn't do anything half-assed. But then, 2 pages into the first book, she seems to have lost her energy, so... Shout out to No Brain Cell, tackles everything, Himbo Manatsu.
Is she the number 1 hyperactive tropical girl?
Oh my, yeah, she absolutely is.
Sorry, we've
callback.
been watching a lot of Naruto lately for another episode, so... But this is not a Naruto podcast.
This is not a Naruto podcast. We also, one last really quick note, we have a couple of discussion questions that aren't necessarily related to this episode exactly, but, we'll cover them. We do general PreCure topics as well.
General PreCure. We did watch our episode of Futari Wa this week.
Yeah.
We ate our broccoli.
It was cute. It had a little tiny bear cub in it. I love that bear cub. He's my favorite character of all of PreCure.
Make the bear cub a cure, you cowards.
Okay, but we did find out that Laura really likes melon bread, which has been a long-standing thing in a lot of different seasons. Most notably for us, it was a huge thing in Witchy PreCure. But we found out that, obviously they don't have bread under the sea because it would get wet and soggy and it'd be gross. But when Laura decided that she was going to try reading, she was reading a book about, all different types of melon bread or something like that.
And she suggested that the club be about eating melon bread, and they were like, we can't have a club just for that, Laura, be quiet.
She wanted to be the taste tester for if they made melon bread. So I guess that's your very brief Laura being a little gremlin queen corner for today.
Laura, we love you. We're blessed by you.
So I think that this first discussion question was one that you had come up with, so take it away.
Yes, and I actually remember writing this down watching Pissard's defeat in Futari Wa PreCure. But it's, bad guys are strong until they aren't, which isn't exactly a question. But what I mean by that is it seems like the cures will struggle, but then they will win, and there doesn't seem to be a reason why they were able to overcome the person now when they weren't before, or why the bad guy is weak now when they weren't before. So what do you think is going on with that? How do you think you could fix that? Do you think it's just a side effect of this being a weekly show?
Okay, so you need to check out Star Twinkle PreCure. In Star Twinkle, the generals don't really fight the girls until much later in the series, near the end, but at that point they're looking for something called Star Twinkle Imagination, and they are only ever able to defeat the generals when they activate that power. And I would say that is just a explicit version of what's happening in all the other seasons, like in Futari Wa when they suddenly beat Pissard after struggling to land a blow on him for several episodes. I think that the PreCures get their strength from their emotions, and so as they fight the bad guy, and as the bad guy does more and more evil things, separating a bear cub from its mother, or taking over a child's loneliness that he feels because their parents are having another child and they feel like they're not getting any attention. As the PreCures see the evilness, they get more and more righteous indignation, and I think they're supposed to be growing as characters and learning, but because the lessons are so simple, it doesn't always feel like they're leveling up. But essentially, they basically just get they've had enough eventually, and they build up enough positive energy and enough righteous fury that overpowers the villain.
Okay, that's fair. That is something I felt that Kira and Princess PreCure did very well, was the villain's strengths and power-ups felt believable to me, and the Cure's struggling or being victorious over them also felt believable to me. Julio was a great villain.
Yeah, I mean, he sounds like he was. I still haven't... Need to watch Kira, man. It's high on my list.
Do you want to make a cat promise?
Oh, yeah. A PreCure promise from my heart to yours. I don't want to make a promise this week because we have quite a bit of Naruto that we got to watch for our April bonus episode. But by episode, so this is episode 6, by episode 8, I will have watched at least 4 more episodes of Kira PreCure a la mode. And if I have not, I will have to sing from memory any one song that you choose. But it can't be longer than like 3 minutes. It can't be like a Metallica 8 minutes and I have to do like the entire guitar riff with my mouth, because that's too much time.
Oh, don't worry. I have already chosen the song.
Okay, fantastic.
Absolutely. Now, this next discussion question, I believe you wrote down.
Yes. So this is kind of a general idea. As you can tell, I've been workshopping my own season of PreCure kind of in the back of my mind. But in a lot of PreCure seasons, you will have a character who at one point is at a power level of 3. I don't know, I'm just making up random stuff. But PreCure gets stronger as the season goes on. They get new final attacks, they get new special moves, etc., etc. And usually this comes at the end of an episode about them specifically. So in Tropical Rouge, you might have a Minori-specific episode, and at the end of the episode, she will be the one who defeats the final boss. Okay? But what if we had a PreCure season? This is kind of an open-ended question, but could you imagine a PreCure season where the focus was not on the individual girls, but on their relationships with each other? And from what you've told me, Kira is quite that in a lot of ways. But what if, instead of having Manatsu get like a new super-powered punch or something, what if you had an episode where Manatsu and Sango have a rift in their relationship because they don't see eye to eye on something? And then at the end of the episode, when they resolve that, they get a new combo attack that they use together. And what if throughout the season you basically ended up with an episode that was every possible pairing of characters? And by the end of the season, their friendship is so strong that they can summon PreCure Giant Lady or PreCure Rainbow Energy Blast.
Okay, I like that a lot. I like that it relies on them building their friendship up, basically, in order to attack. When you were describing, these two characters have a relationship so they can use a combo attack, all I could think of was, oh gosh, what is it even called? The Madoka Magica spin-off gacha game that became an anime?
Magica Record, I think.
That's right. And we do have a bonus episode about Madoka Magica where we talk briefly about the gacha game / spin-off anime, which is also available in our free feed. We love Madoka, and I know a lot of PreCure fans don't, but both are good.
I will say that if you feel that Madoka is overhyped, I will agree that there are many people who will scream until they're red in the face about how Madoka Magica is the perfect story. I like it a lot, but I do agree that there is a certain level of all right, cool your horses, calm down a little bit. It's good, but not everyone's going to like it.
Don't we have a 3-minute track just of sound clips of us saying Madoka Magica is a tightly told story in different places?
Yeah, it's a tightly told story, and it's really well done. I'm just saying that if you feel the fans are obnoxious, I hear you, I see you. I agree that some fans are a little bit too oh, this show is bad because it's not Madoka Magica. Multiple things can be good.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's kind of like JoJo's fans are to shonen as Madoka fans are to other magical girl anime. Not to call out JoJo's fans, because that's another series that we enjoy and have talked about. But
not everything is a reference. Some things are explicit references, but not everything is a JoJo's reference.
Sometimes a dad just wants to listen to 80s rock and not scroll through a million comments of, Nani? It was me, Dio.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But no, I really like your idea. And I wonder if they could focus as well on their relationships with themselves, and they unlock new powers as part of accepting themselves.
Heartcatch kind of did that a little bit.
That's true, yeah.
I appreciate that.
Also, can we shout out the fact that Heartcatch is the only season so far that you and I have seen where they got capes, and that's cool as heck.
The capes are really cool, and in a sense, I might understand how they're impractical. No capes. But at the same time, these shows are all about the cool. As I pointed out when I was talking about Cure Flare having high heels and being you can't fight in these. There's a lot of things that are impractical about these shows, but they stay in because it's the cool factor. So.
Absolutely. So that's my crack theory for the next episode. Manatsu gets a cape, and she just runs around the school at top speed, like showing it off, like, vroom, look at me, I'm in a cape, it makes me fast. The principal tries to, or not principal, the student council president tries to make her stop, and she's like, you can't catch me, the cape makes me too fast.
To build onto that crack theory, Manatsu will introduce Naruto running to the school, and it will make all of the students that much faster and that much more unstoppable. My crack theory... Now, we have the Yarane Daws, which, you know, they don't have the ability to speak. They just say, Yarane Da! And they kind of, they don't necessarily seem incredibly smart. They seem kind of like, you know, minion-esque. And so my crack theory is that Geki Drago, the second emissary of evil from Futariwa PreCure, is actually a prototype Yarane Da, or a time-traveling Yarane Da from the future who went back in time to stop the original PreCure. Ugh. And that has been your
Final thought outro
goes here. Thanks for listening, everyone, and don't forget to Tropica Shine. Do we want in the future for the outro to go here? Should it be tropical outro goes here?
Oh, yeah.
Or that has been your final tropical thought.
Let me try that. Let me try that on.
Mm-hmm.
That has been your tropical thought. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, let us know in the comments if you like it. I don't think that we like it enough to replace the official intro.
Don't forget to tropically ring that bell.
Oh my god.
I'm sorry, you can edit that out.
Never. Ha-ha! What a great episode of King of the What Now, your One Piece podcast that started from the very beginning and stars these two doofuses. If you want to follow us on social media, Twitter is the best place to do that. I am at KOTWN_pod.
And I am at Pirate Ghost Host.
Absolutely, yes. We share all sorts of thoughts on there, some related to the podcast, some related to other things. But you can also reach us through email at KingOfTheWhatPod@gmail.com, or you can also find us on Patreon. We would love some subscribers or supporters, whatever the technical term is. Patrons. So fancy and grown up. And you can find that at patreon.com/KingOfTheWhatPod. You can find all sorts of things like bonus episodes, and you get to see the full cold open candidates, not just the ones that make it into the episode. Maybe someday if I learn to draw, I'll put stuff up there. We're always looking for suggestions and feedback. And speaking of which,
please take a moment to rate and review our podcast wherever you get us from. So iTunes, Spotify, Scrivener, that's for writing. But wherever you listen to our podcast, take a moment to leave a review. It helps other people find us. We are so grateful to all of our listeners, and we couldn't do this without you.
Absolutely. Word of mouth is super powerful, so if you have a friend who likes One Piece and they haven't heard of us, just direct them to the latest episode. And if they hate us, they can tell us why. And if there's an actionable item, we'll try to please you. That's how this works. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.